So another thing I noticed you use here is the red light.
Right.
That's something I used in my practice, just kind of based from the recommendation from my other mentor
Right.
for athletic training, Mike Stella. He started using that as a way to replace ice.
Right.
So cold constricts, we talked a little bit about it, where, the use of ice kind of has been up in the air, let's just put it that way,
Right.
where the doctor who wrote the research for the RICE principle, resting, compression, ice, elevation, he has retracted the paper back in 2010 or so, but it's been in the culture
Right.
for so long that, and in this recent half a decade or so, ice has even gained more popularity. If anything, now you
Right.
got cryotherapy. Even on the aesthetic worlds, they use
Cryo-sculpting and
yeah,
head sculpting and all that shit.
yeah, like so. What's your thought in that, and your thoughts in red light?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the ice plunges and things like that are very, very overdone these days. In certain senses, yeah, I think cold is good, but the way that it's being portrayed today they're overdoing it. On top of all the other fads that we've talked about, intermittent fasting, keto diet, all these things, like you're adding in all of they're really stressful to the body. Like any way you put it, ice cold. Well, if we're talking like spot treatment of cryo, that's one thing. It's not like you're stressing your entire system. But the ice plunges and it's just not being used very intelligently these days, because you add all these fads in that people use to get going or to have energy, like keto and like intermittent fasting and all these things. People claim to have energy from just having energy doesn't mean it. It doesn't mean it's good for you. You're pumping cortisol through your blood. That's why you feel great when you get out of an ice bath, is because your body thought you were about to die, and so it's pumping adrenaline and cortisol and things like that. So it's I think it's just overdone in an intelligent way. I think it can be, but red light therapy, I think, is it's much safer. There's just less bad reaction from red light, because it's literally just the sun, right? It's just it's producing the same wavelength as a sunset or a sunrise. So I don't know if you know the kind of basic science about the atmosphere and why the sky is blue, which is a pretty popular question among 7-year-olds, but basically the sky is blue in the afternoon because it's traveling through less atmosphere than when it's rising and setting, right? So the sun being right above us, it's passing through less oxygen and nitrogen and the things that actually refract certain types of light. So when the sun is rising, it's kind of skimming across the earth, right? And so it's traveling through more atmosphere and it's refracting more blue light. So you end up seeing red light. So the wavelength that ends up hitting your eyes is 650 to 880 nanometers, something like that. I don't know, I'm not sure what blue light is, but blue light obviously being another kind of popular term that's coming out these days. The light that's on your phone, the blue blocking glasses, because blue light is much more stimulating than red light, because our circadian rhythms are in harmony with the sun, right? So when blue light is present, it's going to be stimulating because that's the middle of the day. That's when you're supposed to be awake, right? That's why people like sunrises and sunsets. They're very relaxing because that red light hits your eyes and starts melatonin production. It starts getting you on the right circadian rhythm when you dose it properly and when you time it correctly. And so people, especially like during the pandemic, when people started working from home a lot more and probably getting out of bed and hopping right on the computer before they've even seen any other kind of light, you're telling your body essentially that it's the middle of the day, at 6 in the morning before the sun is even up. So of course it's going to set you up for a roller coaster of hormones that are just not going to be in sync the way they should be. So
Mhm.
that's the kind of biomodulation effect of the red light. That's particularly when it hits the eyes.
Yeah.
So the more kind of superficial skin, kind of acute injury effects from the panel, it's you're getting two different benefits. One is the kind of circadian timing that you're getting from the red light, but there are certain processes, cellular processes that the red light helps kind of kickstart, and so between that and most red light panels also have infrared bulbs in them as well. So typically every other light is a red light and every other light is a infrared light. Infrared light being invisible, can't actually see it with the human eye, but that's essentially when you feel the sun hitting your skin, that's what you're feeling is the infrared waves.
Oh wow.
So that's why infrared sauna is actually, I think, much more beneficial than a traditional dry sauna, because it's actually penetrating into the muscle. It's not just hot air around you making you sweat. It's actually penetrating and actually helping cellular cellular detox, which is a little bit, it gets a little bit deeper into the tissue than the red light does. Red light is even popular in like the kind of esthetician beauty world now, because it's more skin collagen kind of production and things like that. So that's why it can help skin issues. Whereas the infrared penetrates a little bit more and is a little bit more muscular oriented. So versus ice, I'd go with red light all day, especially if you're talking an acute injury or anything like that. Spot treating with a red light. With some lymph drainage, that kind of stuff that's really, really your best bet, in my opinion. So